So in this video we'll see the cervical vertebrae. As we know that there are 7 cervical vertebrae starting from C1 to C7. Now out of this, the C3, 4, 5 and 6, these 4 vertebrae, they have got the common features. This vertebra has got common features. This is its body part, this is its transverse process, this is the lamina part, and this is the spinous process. So in each cervical vertebra, in its transverse process, there is an opening called foramen transversorium. And this foramen transversorium is a typical features of each cervical vertebra, and this is the only identification point which makes it separate from the other vertebrae, that is thoracic and the lumbar vertebrae. So the typical feature of each cervical vertebrae is foramen transversorium. Now as we know that this, if you are able to see that these vertebrae, they look alike and they all are known as typical cervical vertebra, while the remaining these 3 vertebra which are atypical, and this one is this first cervical vertebra, also known as the atlas. This is the second cervical vertebra, it is also known as the axis. This is the axis, and this is the 7th cervical vertebrae. So they have got some typical atypical features, that's why they are discussed separately. First we will see the typical cervical vertebra. So if you see each typical cervical vertebra, if you see it, it has got the body part, it has got this pedicle. Behind the pedicle, this portion is known as the lamina, and then it has got both the lamina, they fuse to form what is known as the spine. From the junction of this pedicle and this lamina on lateral aspect, here you are able to see another process known as the transverse process, and this transverse process is having an opening or a canal known as foramen transversorium. So this is how a typical cervical vertebra looks. Now if you see the first, this typical cervical vertebra has got this is the body part. If you see the body of this cervical vertebrae, it is smaller if you compare it with the thoracic or the lumbar vertebrae. This body looks like a bean shape, and if you see the transverse diameter is more compared to the anteroposterior diameter. Further, if you see this body, superior surface of this body, it is concave and it is elevated on either side. The anterior border of this superior surface is beveled. If you see the inferior surface, see this inferior surface of the body, it is saddle in shape. If you trace it from before backward, it is concave in nature, while if you trace it from side by side, it is convex. So it's look like a saddle shape. The body has got anterior surface, it has got posterior surface. The posterior surface shows over here the openings for the basivertebral vessels passes through it. If you see the anterior surface, see it is directed downward and forward, and generally it covers the similar part of the lower body. This anterior border projects downwards and may overlap, hide the intervertebral disc. The anterior and posterior surface resemble those of the other vertebrae. Now if you see the vertebral foramen, see this vertebral foramen of each typical cervical vertebrae, it is triangular in shape. As the pedicles, they don't pass directly backward, but they pass backward and laterally. Now if you see this vertebral arch, it is formed by the pedicles on either side. These are the pedicles, and they are equally notched superiorly as well as the inferior. So both the superior notch over here, vertebral notch, and this is inferior vertebral notch, they both are equal in size. If you see, the depth of this notch is equal. Further behind the pedicle, you have got this lamina. It's slopy in nature, and it is directed backward as well as the downward. This is its superior border, this is its inferior border of the lamina. From the junction of the pedicle and the lamina, this is superiorly, this facet is there, it is known as superior articular facet. This is directed backward and upward, while similarly inferiorly there is another articular process known as inferior articular process, which is directed downward and forward. Over here lies the between this pedicle and this your lamina, the junction lies your transverse process, and this transverse process, it is further divided by this foramen transversorium into the two parts. That the parts which lies in front of it is known as the anterior root of transverse process, parts which lies behind is known as the posterior root of transverse process, and both this root, they are connected with each other, while this is a thin plate of bone known as costotransverse bar. The costal element of the vertebra will give rise to the, or it is represented by the anterior, this root, then this pointed portion is known as the anterior tubercle, and this is costotransverse bar. This posterior tubercle which lies over here, this all will be contributed by the costal element. Now in case of C6 cervical vertebra, this anterior tubercle is larger, and it lies, the carotid artery can be palpated against it, so it is known as the carotid tubercle, because you can palpate the common carotid artery in front of this. The spine, if you see, it is short and it is always bifid. See, you can see that the spine is bifid. Now we'll see the attachment which are there on this typical cervical vertebrae. So this anterior surface of the body with the superior and the inferior border will give attachment to the anterior longitudinal ligament. Over here lies the anterior longitudinal ligament, over here lies the posterior longitudinal ligament. On either side of this anterior longitudinal ligament, over here lies the attachment of the muscle, that is longus colli. So the longus colli arises from either side of this ligament over from the body. While posteriorly these openings, 1 to 2 multiple opening, they are for the basivertebral veins. This upper border as well as the lower border of this lamina provide attachment to the ligamentum flava. Foramen transversorium, this will transmit the vertebral artery, vertebral vein, as well as a branch from the inferior cervical ganglion. This anterior tubercle, it will give attachment, this anterior tubercle which lies at the junction of costotransverse bar and the anterior root, it will give attachment to the scalenus anterior muscle as well as the oblique part of the longus colli muscle and longus capitis muscle. So this posterior tubercle, this one, it will give attachment to the scalenus medius, scalenus posterior muscle, as well as it will also give attachment to the levator scapulae muscles. And apart from this, the muscles of the back, that is splenius muscle as well as the longissimus cervicis and iliocostalis muscles, they are also attached, or they gets origin from here. This costotransverse bar, it lies in relation to the corresponding your nerve, cervical nerve. The spine, this groove lies in relation to the ligamentum nuchae, while the remaining part of this spine will give attachment to the back muscle, that is interspinalis, semispinalis, thoracic and cervicis, while spinalis muscle as well as the multifidus part of these are the back muscles. Now if you talk about the ossification part, each typical cervical vertebra, it ossifies from the 3 primary centers and the 6 secondary centers. The 1 primary center is for this centrum of the body, while another 2 primary centers, they are for each half of this vertebral arch, while the secondary centers, they are there. So 2 for the superior and the inferior surface of the body, 2 for the transverse process on either side, and 2 for this spinous process. So this is in brief about the typical cervical vertebrae.